Yep, the red light's on and we're recording. So this is episode 2, I think, of the recorded episode 2 of our Solve, like the 5th one that we've done. And I'm trying to make this. There's more people adding. Come on, let's joining. Looks like an entire room of people in the penthouse. So yeah, I posed a question the other day in Slack, and I've sort of created a small deck of slides, which I'm hoping everybody can see. Hopefully that's being picked up by the recording. Otherwise, I'm going to have to learn how to edit that and add it into my video. You will be pleased to hear that this is completely SaaS because I actually use WeVideo for the editing. WeVideo is a cloud-based editing app, which is very good. So I got the agenda discussions for today, going through a bit of the poll results, which will sort of dictate or drive how we carry on doing this. DMARC, which there's been a couple of questions this week in the Slack channel about DMARC, which is brilliant that Colleen had a win a couple of weeks ago, I think, with DMARC, and now you can explain it and become the resident expert for everybody. And then, of course, we'll have sort of an open discussion because I haven't got anything else in the agenda. So poll results, I asked the question, I'd like it if Solve was done, and unanimously the results were bi-weekly. So well, hopefully 2 o'clock Eastern, other times, other places work. Friday seems to work for me. Does work for Dominic and his evening out there in Europe, and people on the West Coast in their mornings. Friday's pretty chill day for most of us, so we'll kind of try and work this, keep these conversations going, and we'll try and do them more structured as well. I know people have submitted requests, and we'll try and get sort of, I guess, either it'll be a random chat or we'll do some sort of staged, recorded, organized tech talk, almost like a mini weekly webinar bi-weekly webinar for ourselves. And then the other question I asked was, I'd prefer to, and that was take part in Solve Live. So 15 people who replied in the poll said that they would like to partake live rather than just watching it, and also nobody said they just want to watch it on YouTube later. So, but I will go through. I will go through and upload it anyway. So, with that said, let me go through and get rid of that. And
I did watch the first 2 episodes last night, Colin.
You did?
So there are people that watch them. Yes, to catch up.
Excellent. So let's just go through and do the round robin so we know who people are, because not all of us know each other. So I'll start, and then I'll go through the list alphabetically, and I'll say somebody's name, and then they can say who they are. And you can either say your company or the industry. So I'll say the company, or I'll say the industry that I'm in. I work in an advertising agency. We have about 2,000 people, and we're part of a much larger organization that has about 30,000 people. So for us, it's a lot about maintaining our own independence and managing our own IT, but also integrating with our larger parent company. Next on my list is Blair.
Unmuted. There we go. Hey guys.
You have to unmute yourself.
Engineer. Good. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Blair. Hi guys. Solution engineer at Better Cloud. Formerly IT, everything, sysadmin, system engineer, so on and so forth.
Okay. Cool. Next down, Brandon. If you want to say hello, or you can just listen.
Sorry about that. Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm an IT engineer at Recurly.
Curly. Okay, cool. And then Brian.
Hi, Brian here from StrataPime. We are a Google partner based out of Toronto, Canada.
All right, Canadians joining as well. Excellent. We're going global. Caleb.
Hi, I'm Caleb Spring. I work for a law firm in Rochester, New York. Yeah, small law firm, 25 users. So.
Yeah. And Colleen.
Hi, I'm Colleen Alimo. I work at Excello. We are an agile development consulting firm in DC. I'm the IT director here, running all the internal IT, security, compliance, yada, yada stuff.
All right, cool. And then Dominic.
I'm also a partner. For a longer introduction, look back in the other episodes. I'm based in Europe, and yeah, we're growing.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. All right, and then Felipe.
Hey, sorry guys, just was scrambling to find a room over here. Hey, so I'm Felipe Mulford. I work at Fossil. I'm our Google Cloud guy. There's only two of us. We're a company of about 10,000 people. We're a G Suite shop, G Suite Enterprise, and we use a bunch of other tools as well.
Excellent. Shout out for G Suite Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. And whoever's there in the very lofty place called the Penthouse.
Hi, my name's Penthouse. No, I'm Sean, and I'm here with James as well. We're also from Recurly.
Okay. All right. Cool. And you guys are all based on the West Coast, aren't you?
So James and I are in San Francisco. Brandon's in Boulder.
Right. Okay. Cool. And then Steve.
Hi, everyone. So Steve Larson, I'm a customer engineer at a partner, same as Dominic and Brian there, and now actually managing our internal IT as well as kind of doing the sales engineer role.
Okay. And you're up in Chicago, isn't it? Or the Midwest somewhere?
Yeah, currently in Chicago. Used to be in London last 12 years, a year and a half before this. Yep.
Okay, cool. And Sue? Is it Sue Song?
Yep, I work with Brian, also at Strata Prime, full partner.
All right, excellent. Good to meet everybody. I know we've all probably chatted, spoken in part, been on same webinars and meetings at different parts of our careers and integrating or working with each other on Slack, on the Better IT Slack channel. So I'll pass over to Colleen, if you're ready to tell us all about DKIM and DMARC and SPF.
Yeah. It's fun stuff. So yeah, my journey to full reject was about 2.5 years off and on. Whenever it was kind of a pet project, something I wanted to do, kept trying to explain it to my boss, who's the general counsel, and he was just like, "I don't get this." But just kept at it. It took a lot of effort, a lot of discovery, a lot of different tools that I tried using. Some worked well, some did not work so well. It was a lot. When I first got in here and started DMARC, and I just did the free DMARCian to get the reports. I found that there was about 250-ish companies sending on our behalf. So didn't know which ones were legit, which ones were ones that we used. It was kind of just all over the place. And so, meeting with the heads of all of the departments and other users and what do we use, and then finding all their SPF records. Well, now one of the issues with, I think that anyone that started this journey is SPF records they max out at, I think, like 250 characters. So it's really hard to have every single sender that you need. And as we are more SaaS based, we have, our marketing email, we have our marketing tool, we have our CRMs, we have our HRIS systems, we have our help desk systems, and it just grows and grows and grows. So finding the right tool that was not too costly to help us build a dynamic SPF so that the rest of the records are housed there was really important. Working with every single tool that we do allow to send, which is about 20, and having them set up their DKIM and giving us the DKIM keys so that we can put it in our DNS, and I can allow them to, so I'm not being rejecting things that we don't have or that we need to send, and then also rotating the keys or getting the keys every time that they're rotated from somewhere. My last holdout was our HRIS system, and they were just like, nope, we don't do DKIM. We will not give it to you. And I kept going back and forth with them and working with them, and we actually came up with a process, and it took a long time to get that. But we're there. I'm using a tool called DMARC to manage the dynamic SPF and some other stuff. They were great to work with, but we actually got 2 full 100% reject. And literally a few days later, we started getting Russian bots trying to spoof us. And as of today, it's been over 1 million. It's just been going and going and going for the last couple of weeks. It slows down and then it pops back up. But if I didn't have DMARC in place, or at least a tool like DMARC or something, I wouldn't even know that this is happening. When you start doing the discovery, you find so many things that there's no other way to find out that these are happening.
Right. Yeah. So Steve just
You're
said
muted.
that he's worked. Am I unmuted?
Colin?
Yeah. No, I should be working now.
Colin?
Testing.
I can hear you.
Yeah. I can see my
Colin?
little things
Sometimes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
We can hear you. This is everybody's gonna be saying Zoom. We can hear you. Others can hear.
Are you talking, Colin?
Yes, I am. Yeah, and others can hear me, can't you? Dominic and Steve, you could hear me.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, she's going to go and come back. Good old Hangouts sometimes goes wrong. Yeah, Steve can hear everyone. So yeah, it is. Steve, you were saying that you've used on DMARC before for doing a discovery, the evaluation, or the finding out what's on.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you back now,
Yeah,
Colleen? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. This happened last time too. It's something with Hangouts with me.
Certainly, will be a Zoom meeting next time then. So I guess out of interest, is 11 people plus on the call. How many? I can't do a show of hands because we don't have a little show of hands button. Just I guess everybody scream and shout if you've gone through this process.
Going through.
Yep, Steve's gone through. Caleb, have you done it? No, hasn't done it. Who else is on the call?
I've done it. I did the SPF, DChem, DMARC experience. Super fun.
Right. How long did it
right now?
You're doing it, Felipe?
Yep.
And it is a process that takes some time. Colleen, what was the and it does never stop. It is an ongoing process. How long let's see how I can ask some good questions. How many domains were you dealing with?
One domain.
One domain. Okay.
So that's
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, it's so easy. Okay. And how many SaaS applications do you think were sending on your behalf?
So there were over 250 when I started, and I got it down to 25.
Right. Okay. And how long did you think the information discovery process took, like getting all of the applications set up, and then how long did it take to review all the DMARC messages and reports, activate changes, and then get to your 100% reject?
It was a process of working on this off and on for a couple of years, but if it's just dedicated, probably 6 months, as long as the other people you're working with, so the people in marketing and HR that you have to get this information from and get contacts from, actually respond to you and are able to work with you.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes get that information from others is a little difficult. They don't see it as a priority. So
yeah. And then the other reason I think it takes such a long time is if you have a system that only sends an email once a month.
Yes.
Or once a quarter, for finance or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Or our HRIS people don't usually use it unless it's appraisal time.
Right.
And then they're sending out everything through our HRIS for appraisals.
Right. Yeah. And obviously, if you aren't fully managing your infrastructure, if companies have outsourced something like the email provider, and that outsourced company is using a shared Exchange server, you can't have individual DKIM, I think, on a shared Exchange, from what I've seen.
Yep. And then there's also, people bringing in new services and not really telling you, and then all of a sudden you see this new thing and you have to track down, where did this come from? Who started using, SunGrid or whatever?
Yeah. So how did you go about doing that?
Actually, that's a good tool to discover that. To discover shadow IT.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Or at least shadow IT that people are trying to allow to send on your behalf.
Mm-hmm. At least a part of it.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was. I work with a lot of other teams here, which I'm sure we all do, and a lot of them just came out of the discovery of where these new things came out of other conversations with other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard this guy is using that. I want to use it too." I'm like, "Okay, let me go and talk to whoever." Be like, "Hey, you're stopping me from doing DMARC." And the other part is, too, now that I'm at full reject, I will find out as soon as somebody tries to set something up.
Right. Yeah. And where do you find it out? In the logs you get from on DMARC?
In the logs, but also I'm sure the person, whoever decides to set something up and all their emails are failing.
Doesn't work.
Yep. Why is this failing?
Colleen, are you using any sort of tooling like DMARCian or some other in between to parse those logs and data for you?
Yeah.
I'm using on DMARC. I started with DMARCian, and that was great to use the free stuff in the beginning to do the major discovery, but it wasn't great for. And then I tried MX Toolbox. That did a little bit, but then DMARCian was on DMARC was definitely.
What about something I've run into in the past too, and it's not directly DMARC, but it's obviously related, is SPF flattening and getting over the whatever it is, 13 jumps or 10 jumps, but yeah. And then, how did you mitigate that?
Yeah, so on DMARC actually does a dynamic SPF, so you just use their SPF record and then you put everything else, all the other SPF records in their system.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to manage and see than just having this long text file of all of your.
Yeah.
There was
something I noticed too. Oh, sorry. Something I noticed too. With too many jumps in SPF, I was getting domains listed as blacklisted from other RBLs or vendors or whatever. Going, oh, this is probably fraudulent. Oh shit, guys.
No, really, it's us.
It's amazing that there are still some providers out there of services that want you to be sending through, their system that don't publish their own SPF record. We had a software provider email me a list of a whole list of IP addresses, a whitelist, because they were changing their mail service structure. And it's like, why don't you guys have a SPF record? I'll just publish that. And it's like, well, what's SPF? It's like,
yeah, especially when it's the system that your marketing team is using for marketing email.
Yeah.
You would think at least they would know, which is also, we got them to change to a different system that is way better and more secure.
Okay. So what would the Colleen of today tell the Colleen of before this project had started? And also, did this project have a good project name? Because I've discovered for any project to be a success, it has to have a good title, a good code name.
Pretty much, it was only me doing all of this, so I was just doing it. Yeah.
Okay. But what would you like to know now that you didn't know at the beginning that could be helpful for other people who are about to set out doing it?
Definitely getting more buy-in or having more visibility from other people, so that when something does happen, when you do have a success, you can actually celebrate it, instead of just, I just went to my boss and I'm like, so remember that thing that you always told me to stop wasting my time on? Well, I didn't, and now we're blocking Russian bots.
Right.
But Also, yeah, getting other people involved. We attempted at my previous employer over 3 years ago, we attempted to do full DMARC, and we had a whole security team. There was a bunch of us working on it, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and they just went and tried to go like from quarantine to reject in a week. And our sales team were mad. None of our sales emails were getting out, and we had to figure out how to go back and get rid of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I definitely learned, take your time. It's better to be slow and thorough than just flipping the switch.
Yes. Yeah. This
Especially
is
you get really unlucky and like the DNS doesn't propagate across the rest of the planet for like an hour or two.
Or 24.
Yeah. We turned it on the evening before the giant Dyn outage a few years ago, where you're using Dyn.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You broke it?
We might have been the ones that broke Dyn.
Yeah, I would say that in our experience of doing SPF, DKIM, and DMARC, we used DMARCian, started using them when they were just starting up, and found them to be incredibly helpful. It's a great cost-efficient tool. Maybe they don't. Maybe there are other companies out there that will do more hands-on and manage it for you. There's like Valley Mail is one of them, but obviously you're paying top premium price for services like that. For us, I think it's anywhere between 12 to 24 months, 18 months to have the full project done, because it is really 2 to 3 months of just collecting data and then working through slowly changing it. And we would do it 10% every month, or 20% until we got to sort of 190%. You really do have to have a lot in place, and it's amazing how many servers are set up with their own postfix email relay on them to send out those reports to developers, and you see it in your logs from some server.local has sent out some mail. And it's strange that you've talked about the Russian bots. There must be a program available, multiple VDSs, virtual dedicated servers, with random domain names being spun up, and you get bombarded with one address, and you sort of maybe you'll block that on your system, and then just another one will get spun up, or they'll have some randomizer. The phishers and the spoofers are getting very clever, and it is almost tidal. Has everybody else seen that you get nothing for ages, and then over a 12-hour period you'll just get hundreds of messages?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like typically tied to when Metasploit gets an update, and they're like, "Oh, so XYZ new features in there," and then ever freaking script kitties.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. The Russian bot attack happened the day after the Iowa caucuses. I'm like, oh, election season. Here we are. This is just what we're going to expect now, I guess.
All right. So any questions from people out there? Felipe, Brian, who else is on? Everybody in the penthouse room. Caleb. Any questions, comments to add? Who's brave enough to say they don't have DKIM or DMARC and DMARC enabled, and are going to make it their March 2020 project?
It's definitely on the roadmap for us, but like Colleen was mentioning in her previous role, we actually have a dedicated security team that has, like, every 6 or 8 months they come by and they're like, "Hey, you have any free time to help us out with this?" Because usually the answer is no, but we should have some time this year to hopefully tackle it. We do have a ton of domains, so yeah, we already know that our SPF is out of control. And yeah, I get stressed every time I think about everything that's getting involved, but luckily there's like a team of like 3 or 4 other people to help out.
Right, that's good. Does everybody do? I guess who is, or how many of us are like a one-shop do maintain everything? It sounds like, Felipe, you've got different teams doing different things, and I know Caleb's.
I'm the one and only, so I have no help. I have SPF and DKIM in, but not DMARC, just because it looked overwhelming. So not doing it yet, but it's on my tasks of things to do. But when you're the one and only IT guy, even though it's a small firm, like right now we're working, and I'm working on this tiny little laptop at the same time as this meeting. I can keep things going.
Yes.
So,
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
And it is always, the priorities. If you are, smaller, then you're unlikely to get, attacked by Russian bots or have people spear phishing or, damaging your reputation.
Interestingly enough, we did have someone do that. They hacked one of our clients and hit a domain. So our domain is there's one letter off basically from the domain we use, and they sent an email as if it came from us. Anything that came from us, they actually had a rule set up in this person's Outlook that they hacked their computer. So this helped me raise it up more important in our organization, because they are like, no, we need the computers and the internet and all that other stuff to work first. I'm like, well, this is important too, because this could have damaged us if it went more than outside this client.
Yes.
I was spearfished at a former client. I was the only IT guy for about 40 to 50 users, and someone spearfished the CEO. I mean, I didn't know anything about SPF and DKIM. I was like, we're on G Suite. This is secure. They got it. Spoiler alert, they don't. But yeah, we were spearfished, and our accountant sent out about $90,000 to who she thought was, a vendor to pay off. And it turns out they definitely weren't. Also, pro tip, the FBI won't do anything unless it's like over $1 million.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Yep.
All right. So you're saying that we shouldn't ask for more than $1 million to get away with it, and we should only ask for like
$999,000.
Yeah, Colin's like writing down all the domains of people that don't have SPF. Oh, yeah. What was your domain again? Yeah.
And I actually think it's more common for smaller places to get attacked, because they most likely don't have all the things in place that larger companies do, so they're easier to get into.
Yes, yeah.
And it wasn't just like easier to get into. They also don't have policy. And that's something that we discovered, is there wasn't like a set policy of what to do with a request like this. It was just an email from the CEO. Obviously, I'm going to do what he says because he's the boss. So yeah, I think a combination of like education, the right tooling, and actual processes.
And it's also, even with all of that, even with the education, you can't always stop it all. I mean, a couple of years ago, I do all the security education, a whole bunch of stuff, and I actually stopped somebody was having a chat with somebody in the elevator, and I'm like, oh, where are you going? She's like, oh, I got an email from one of the partners. I'm going to go buy a bunch of gift cards. I'm like, stop.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Stop. And like, if I just didn't happen to be in the elevator with her.
I know. And a non-profit that I've helped and worked with, there's only like 5 of them. They had fallen to one of those, spoof messages where somebody had spoofed the president of the charity and asked, the office admin to go and buy, a gift card, because they emailed me and said, did I have any use for $100 Google Play card? And it's like, well, no, I don't. Why do you have one?
I went through and put in a bunch of spam rules around, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency stuff, but then also anything with gift card. Because honestly, like, if you're getting an email about gift card to your corporate email, it's probably not real.
That I also see a lot of now, like our most recent ones have been looking like they're coming from an executive, but it's actually from a Gmail account, like a legit Gmail account, which you can't block. And it's urgent. Send me your phone number. Need to talk to you.
Right.
And then they ask for the gift cards via text.
Yes, yeah. There's been a spike in the last couple of days with, I've got an urgent ask. What's your cell phone number? I need to give you a call. So it's always my hope and dream that somebody tries to fish me one day, and I get a fake email from the CEO, and because I'm going to give them a fake cell phone number and string them along. I've got a Google Voice number, and we'll have a lovely conversation and work. So
Steve just shared a link with us.
Yeah, Steve's got some great links in here all about DMARC and OnMark, and then you can run your own DMARC service. Yeah, because you can get the DMARC XML results, can't you? And you can, if you can read XML fluently, you can understand them yourself. But it's a lot nicer to look at them in a graphical interface.
And I actually I do get all of the XMLs, and I still do go through them because I find them fun to read.
Just for those of us playing along on a Chromebox, can someone post that link in the Better IT Slack?
Yeah, we'll put those links out. I think because I've recorded it, I think
we'll ask Steve to repost it.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone will get a chat history and a text file.
Yeah, which is really good.
Or actually, Colin, you haven't, unless you've invited people, we won't see that. So your calendar event.
Right, yeah. So it'll get shared to Dominic and Colleen because they're directly invited to the invite. I haven't exactly worked out how to do like good calendar invites, so making it so that people can add themselves.
So what you should do is create a Google group that anyone can join, and then you invite the Google group, and that'll have everyone in there every time.
Right. Okay. All right. So yeah, if I make an open group, I'll do it on my own domain. I'm using my corporate account at the moment for the Hangouts. But yeah, there's a whole part of the sort of the Solve SaaSOps life that I want to try and build out and build, strengthen, join the be an add-on to the Better IT community. And there's the SaaSOps LinkedIn page or group. There's the meetup.com SaaSOps group. We'll do, a meeting in New York soon, hopefully in the middle of March. We'll plan, other meetups around the US and maybe even internationally at some point. So yeah, trying to get everybody together and share information. So thank you, Colleen, for explaining the setup.
Yep, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone asking new vendors for their DMARC and DKIM keys before they sign up? And is this a no-go, or is it if you don't have it, maybe it works? We should tell Rose, by the way.
Yeah.
Should be on her list.
Oh, for what? If that SaaS provider is going to be sending as you,
right?
Yes, it would also be on the security aspect of taking on a new service, not only the security of their service, but them as an internal company providing that service. Do they have DKIM to stop phishing and the protection of their own accounts?
Yeah.
Along with like MFA and everything else, because DMARC isn't the holy grail to solve it. It's just another plate of armor, another tool. Yeah. As part of our fortress.
Even though it sucks to set it up and it's a little bit of a process, it is really a low bar. At the end of the day, you could get something set up pretty quickly, pretty easily. It might not be the full extent of it, but it's such a low bar that if you're not even, as a vendor, not even going there, what other issues are you going to have in other areas?
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like a broken Windows thing, isn't it? If you're not looking up, if this low-hanging fruit is considered too low, then what else is considered too low that should be should be done?
I send out too many emails to possible vendors that have this little red stop sign in Gmail. That tells me that they don't have SPF set up, and that I'm not gonna recommend them as vendors as long as that one shows up in any of your emails. If it's an automated or a direct email, I'm just not have it.
Yeah, unless they have been silly and use that as the icon for their Google account, which I think I've seen one person do.
That's the same. That's the same object, whatever.
One thing to mention on DMARC when you set it up, I was trying to find the reference to it. I thought it was on the Parsedmarc articles, but for organizations that have some high regulatory compliance or HIPAA, you have to not collect some of the one of the different parts of the DMARC report, or you have to have at least that controlled within an environment that's HIPAA compliant, because it has potentially names of people in the subjects of the emails, and you don't want that getting out. So you have to have that secured.
Yes, there is. It's an abuse or something, isn't it? There's an
yes, yeah, the error. I think it's the error reporting.
Yeah, I've seen them from. We had a system years ago that was trying to sell into Hotmail, and Hotmail was rejecting them, and you would get the body of that message. So yeah, HIPAA compliant. That would be. So yeah, that's when, if you are HIPAA compliant, it's probably worthwhile investing in a company that's going to manage that for you and do all of that compliance.
Give you a BAA signing it.
Yeah. But for the rest of us that aren't dealing with HIPAA or other government, other regulatory stuff, it is. And as you say, you don't have to be filter. You don't have to be doing a reject, or you don't have to be at 100%, as long as you're just collecting that information. It gives you that brilliant view of what your email sending or receiving landscape is like. Yeah. All right, cool. So I try and make these about 45 minutes, because I'm sure we've all got other meetings happening at 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 8 o'clock for Dominic, whatever it is. Yeah, 9 p.m. Even later. I'm slightly off with my European Standard Time. Are there any other topics, questions, comments, tidbits to share? Any wins from the last 2 weeks or this week? I know that I've been thankful to see that the Better IT Slack channel has been quite busy and active this week. There's been a great, the amount of information that's being shared, and the sort of the help and support that people have been able to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a fun week. It was really a fun week with you.
So I have a question I can propose to the great minds. We have a lot of new and very eager salespeople here, and a few of them have tripped spam rules. And so we decided to try and figure out if there's a way, either with Better Cloud or G Suite, that we can monitor their email, set up some filter, and before they trip G Suite spam filter, which is like 100 emails or something, maybe we can send them a Slack message at 20, like, hey, think about what you're doing, stop this. But 40, we message their manager, something like that. Does anyone come up with a solution along those lines?
So
you can set up limits in G Suite. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. What was the limits there you were talking about?
I'm not sure what the actual limits are. They've all sent over 100 emails, though.
I think, Blair, you were about to say something about limits, setting up limits.
Yeah, you should be able to go in through G Suite and actually set up. I don't remember their official term, but it's like a soft limit where it'll actually delay their emails going out, and then you can actually set up an alert. I'll have to find the K-Base article, but I remember setting that up, something similar, because marketing was like using an internal email instead of an actual marketing platform, and they did the same kind of thing. So we had to go in and kind of regulate how many emails they could send out over what period of time.
Awesome. Interesting. It might be an enterprise.
No, I don't.
I'm also quite curious about that, to be honest. I haven't.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I'll have to find the K-Base article.
Do you think they're running into the sender?
If you can find Blair, that would be great.
Do you think they're running into a rate limit, or the contents of the mail is being flagged as spam?
It's the contents and the amount of mail. I don't know. Honestly, Google's flags are a little bit of a black box to me.
Yeah.
But.
Right. Yeah. Because if it's content, I don't know if there's anything, aside from looking at it and seeing what's obvious. But yeah, there's definitely some well-documented rate limits. But yeah, if it's only like 40, that's actually shouldn't be hitting any kind of rate limit that I know of.
Oh, they're sending way over 40. I want to stop them at 40.
Right.
Oh, I see. Okay, sure.
Right. So you want to catch the behavior before it gets out of control, before they hit a limit, or also damage the reputation of who they're sending as. Because if they are spamming essentially other people, they'll all report it as spam, and then it will be detrimental to the whole company, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Are they sending straight from? Are they sending straight from
Right.
Gmail or through the CRM? Through their CRM.
They've done both. We use Outreach, and that didn't have any limit on the amount of emails they could send. And at least one guy actually claims he hand wrote about 119 emails in 4 hours.
That's very fast typing.
So if we don't find that setting in the G Suite console, one thing you can do is, if you know your team of people that are kind of susceptible to this, is you can actually count the number of messages sent potentially in a given amount of time. I don't know if you can do it. I think you can do it like in a day's period through the API with GAM. I don't know if you can get down to the minute or hours, but you can at least somehow look at how many emails they've sent today, and then alert them to say you're getting close to the daily limit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know you can
remember what we did now. It was actually an app in the G Suite marketplace that we then pushed down via policy into Chrome for everyone and limited it that way.
Right. Okay.
That's what we did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any content controls you can do within the
I've
admin
never
panel.
seen that in G Suite.
Not for volume. You can do content and where it's being sent to and other information based on, what the contents of the message is. But yeah, that's interesting. You'd have to pass it through something, I guess. You set up a quarantine all their outbound messages. But then that's a bit intrusive, and also you'd have to sit there releasing them. Which, that's an interesting scenario.
You got to tell them to stop asking for PII in these emails.
All right, cool. Well,
can I ask one more question? What amazingly cool thing is happening in Marcus's background?
What amazingly? Everything back here.
He has the best office.
I do. I try to make it a bit of my culture, of my personality. So, and this is mainly all Funko Pops.
Okay.
I'm mainly Marvel and Star Wars. So, but behind me are Stan Lee Pops, and there's the Millennium Falcon, which is like the largest one ever. And also up there are both gauntlets from the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War.
All right. Wow. That's certainly a more lively background to a bland wall in a meeting room, or ceiling tiles in DC, pillars in Chicago.
Well, I try to have an interesting background here. You just can't see it quite well.
Oh, wow.
My collection.
What is what's this collection right there?
There's a few here. It's just whiskeys and bourbons and stuff that I.
Are these for Monday, Wednesdays, or Fridays?
Every day, any day. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I did find a really good video yesterday about the health benefits of having a glass of whiskey a night. I'm sure it must have been sponsored by some whiskey company, but I didn't look too deeply into the research. I just believed what they said.
Definitely true. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Brilliant. Thank you everybody much for joining, spending time. Thank you for Sean and his guys for being new and taking part. I'm assuming everybody likes these conversations. Finds it beneficial. We'll try and do Zoom next time. Colleen, maybe if you are able to join. I'm not able to make the next one, so maybe you and Rose and Dominic. I'm going to be on vacation.
Next one be the 6th?
If we go by our 2-week schedule.
Yeah, I'm not available for that one either.
Okay, that's right. Maybe
I'll be.
Yeah, Dominic and Rose, and then it can be community owned. And because that's what we really want to do. All right,
sure.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you in the Slack channel.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.